Beautiful. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. As we wait for more people to log on, please introduce yourself in the chat, share where you're tuning in from, and let me know what encouraged you to sign up for this class today. Vivek, tuning in from India. That's amazing. Welcome. Annie from Brisbane, always looking for tips and advice on how to tap more into loving on myself to keep the tools in the kit for when I need it. Yes. And we can never have enough tools, right? Another from India. Welcome. Vivek, I want to know how I can lose weight by doing yoga. Yep. Shelley, I was encouraged by your own story in regards to letting our self-love slide. Yes. When I shared that on my socials, a lot of people resonated with that and they were feeling quite the same. Diane from Canberra, welcome, signed up because you can never have enough self-love. So true, so true. Vivek, how can I be clothes-free even in winter? That's a challenge I think you have to figure out for yourself. Depends how cold it is and how good your heaters are, I think. Warren from Brisbane, I've been feeling down on myself because of personal issues. I want to learn how to love myself even during the tough times. Yes, 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 yes. And you are all so welcome here. And I cannot wait to share all of this with you. We had so many people sign up for this class, a lot of them in time zones that does not align with this. So I'm glad we've got a beautiful little intimate group here online. And Fran, currently in Vietnam, amazing. Although I've been working on myself for years now, I still struggle heaps with self-love, self-doubting my choices, comparing my body to others, not feeling enough, being single. So tips for self-love are always welcome. I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. And the thing about self-love is it's a forever journey, right? This class, it's not going to be like you're going to get these tips and you are smooth sailing for the rest of your life. I wish it could be that easy, but it's not. It's a conscious choice that we have to keep showing up for. So I hope that these practices tonight are going to give you that boost of motivation and inspiration. But whether you are here live or you are watching the replay at any point in the future, I'm so excited to share with you my top 3 self-love practices. So for those of you who don't know me yet, there are a couple of new faces, new names that have signed up for this class. I am Ricky Yowitt. I am a self-love and sexuality coach, and I am a naked yoga teacher based in Australia. And I have been on my own self-love journey consciously since 2015. And every single year, I learn so much more about myself and about my body's capabilities. For 5 years, I was taking myself on a self-discovery journey, doing multiple online courses, watching YouTube videos, traveling the world, doing my yoga teacher training, learning Reiki and meditation, attending retreats, and workshops and all the things I could get my hands on. In 2019, I decided to begin investing in actual mentors to help guide me deeper and to learn from their wisdom and to train me how to start taking all the things that I've learned and allowing myself to teach it to others. So in early 2020, just before the pandemic, I was qualified as a nude yoga teacher and a naked awakening facilitator by the incredible Rosie Reese. And in 2021, I then began my studies with the Tantric Institute of Integrated Sexuality. Now, 2 years later, I am a certified sex, love, and relationship coach majoring in empowerment and sexuality. So all of these lived experiences that I have had around self-love, and now all of the wisdom that I've gained from my studies and my certifications and working with others has given me so many tools, so many practices, so many techniques and insights into what self-love means and how we can offer this to ourselves. And there is no one size fits all when it comes to self-love. We will all give this to ourselves in very different ways. So there is no right or wrong way for you to practice self-love as long as what you are doing is filling your cup and allowing you to live in a balanced, healthy, and fulfilling lifestyle. So if you signed up to this class, you've most likely seen my emails, my Instagram reels, and my stories, and you might already know why I decided to run this class. But for those of you who don't, or for those of you who are watching the replay, however long in the future, this time of year is when I really struggle in prioritizing my self-love. I also struggle this time of year to create the time that I know I need to be with myself and to self-care. And it turns out that I'm really not alone in this. Every time I posted something about this online, I had an influx of messages with people resonating and saying that they are struggling with the same. It's summer here in Australia right now where I live. It's almost Christmas. It's the end of another beautiful yet chaotic year. And it's a time that I generally start to reflect. I am a very self-reflective and self-aware woman. And I notice that this time of year, every year, my inner critic gets the loudest. That little voice in my mind that speaks up and says things like, oh, you've gained weight again. You won't look good in your bikinis this Christmas. People are judging you. You should be ashamed of yourself. You've let yourself go. You don't look as good as you did this time last year. You're supposed to be the self-love expert. You're a fraud. Okay, like, does anyone else hear a voice like this in their mind? It might not say the same things as my voice does, but it's a voice of negativity nonetheless. Yeah, I can see some hands going up for sure. So let me know in the chat, what is the loudest message that your inner critic is saying to you right now? Let me know in the chat. And of course, you don't have to disclose anything that's too intimate. You share whatever you feel like you are willing to share. But I'd love to hear, what is your inner critic trying to shout at you at the moment? You are a failure. You will always be alone. Yeah. Yeah. It's like it knows our deepest fears and it likes to just remind us very loudly and very negatively. You haven't succeeded before. You do this, you do that. You are old. You are too old. Yeah. Yeah. So many. Yeah. You've aged out of relevance and worth. You just don't fit in. You should have done better at everything. Yeah. It's wild, isn't it? It's wild that we can speak to ourselves in such a nasty way when I guarantee that none of you would speak those words to someone that you love. So why do we speak this way to ourselves? We should be the person that we love and respect and cherish the most. But this is just such a fickle thing in our mind. And just like if you want to become strong in your body, you train, you practice, you show up consistently, you work on your muscles. Self-love is a muscle. It's something that needs to be worked on consistently to see results. We would never go to the gym once and expect to see a change. It's the same with self-love. You might do a self-love practice once a month and think that that should be enough. But then you're like, why don't I feel better? Because consistency is key. That age-old saying is true. Consistency is key. And I can say to you though, like it might seem difficult, but like any habit, the more you do it, the easier it will become. And self-love can become your default response instead of self-loathing. So now, let me share with you some common misconceptions about myself and my work. Just because I am a self-love expert and a coach does not mean that I have my shit together all the time. Just because I'm a nude yoga teacher and run mixed gender naked events all over Australia does not mean that I am absolutely in love and comfortable with my body 100% of the time. No, I am only human. And just like everyone else on this planet, I ride that roller coaster of life. And I have my good days and I have my bad days, and I struggle with self-love, self-acceptance, and body image. The only difference between you and I might be that because I've been doing these practices for so many years now, I no longer get stuck in the darkness. And what do I mean by this? Well, 10 years ago, when my inner critic would start to talk shit to me, trying to pull me down, I would listen to it. I would listen to that voice. I would let it control my life, decide what I should wear, decide if I would or wouldn't go out because of how I felt in my body. I gave it my power completely. Now, the voice or my voice of self-worth is so much louder than the voice of my inner critic. And when this bitchy inner voice starts to speak to me, starts to rear its ugly head, I hear what it's saying, but I no longer believe its words. So my self-love muscle is now stronger than the voice of the inner critic. And this took years of practice. I have to say, it was not easy. I've invested a lot of time, a lot of tears, a lot of money into bettering myself, and I wouldn't change it for the world. It's usually when we decide to better ourselves, to take control of our thoughts and find that inner empowerment, that's when the inner critic becomes louder. It's trying its darndest to keep you in its wraps. So please, if you are here because you are ready to start taking back your power, don't give up when you notice that voice trying to get your attention. So I'm here to hopefully offer you some new, enjoyable, and impactful practices. So before we get into my favorite 3 self-love practices, I just want to take an opportunity to normalize the fact that we all have struggles. Normalize the fact that we all have moments of challenge. We all face at some point or another obstacles with self-love, no matter how much work we've done, no matter how many hours we've put into our practice or money we've invested in coaches and trainings. We are all going to struggle, and that is normal. So I would love to hear from you in the chat. What is your biggest self-love struggle, obstacle, or challenge right now? My biggest challenge is to start something new in my career. Yeah. And how do you think this relates to your self-love? Challenge right now is to lose weight. Yeah. To get everything on my to-do list done. Yeah. And for all of you who are writing in the chat what your struggles are with self-love, where does your self-love come into that? So what is it around self-love that is making these things difficult for you right now? Someone says it's a constant challenge to believe in myself, to love myself the way I am. Yeah, I hear that one. I've been there. I still have moments of that. It makes me feel unloved. Yeah, that's true. When we can't seem to show up for ourselves for these things, we do feel unloved by ourselves. And that kind of energy ripples out, doesn't it? These things can then affect the people that we are closest to, and they can reciprocate that back to us, and we can get in this perpetual cycle. We've got here, my biggest challenge is to find the confidence and strength to speak up and speak my truth. Yeah, and that relates to self-love as worry of judgment or lack in external validation or not being liked. 100%. And I just want to reflect back to you that you have so much self-awareness. Like, you can see the challenge, you can see why you're afraid of it. So I feel like this is something that much awareness is going to allow you to really find a practice that is going to target these fears. So I have a lot of positive talk as well, but it gets lost in the constant negative talk. The negative seems to have so much power compared to the positive. Yes, we got more coming in. Truly accepting my body as it is, even though I am liking my body more and more, I see how I still compare myself to others. This impacts my confidence and how I show up in life in general. Yeah. Negative self-talk, perfectionism, comparison to others, hurtful experiences, lack of self-compassion, insecurity, fear, judgment, rejection, self-sacrifice, neglect, external validation. That was a huge one for me when I was younger. This here really lets us see just how vast the spectrum of self-love and its challenges can be. Thank you all so much for sharing this. for sharing your struggles. It's a vulnerable thing to show up on a call like this with people we don't know and share what our biggest struggles are right now. So I truly thank you for being so open and so honest. And the great thing about these classes is that we can feel a sense of community. We can read and hear each other's struggles and relate to each other, feel less alone in what we're going through. So I really want to thank you. Thank you for sharing. The 3 practices that I want to share with you today is mirror work, nude yoga, of course, and self-massage. And I have chosen these because out of the hundreds of tools and techniques and practices and rituals that I've learned and tried, these are my personal favorites and have had the most powerful and lasting impact and benefit for me. So we're going to start with mirror work. So what is mirror work? It is exactly what it sounds like. You gaze at yourself in the mirror, but you state positive affirmations out loud about yourself to yourself, such as, I am beautiful, I am wise, I am so worthy of love, I am grateful to have this incredible body that functions naturally and keeps me alive. So now when I suggest this practice to my clients, my coaching clients, I get 2 very different responses. Firstly, there's the people who instantly shut down and feel super uncomfortable at this invitation. And these are the ones who find it the hardest to even look at themselves in the mirror. They avoid even looking at their reflection. They probably don't even have a mirror in their home because it's too unbearable to witness themselves. And when I invite them to stand in front of a full-length mirror for a prolonged period of time and say empowering things to themselves, they absolutely freeze. On the other hand, there's the clients that say, that's easy, no worries at all. I look at myself in the mirror every day. This is going to be a walk in the park. But the objective of mirror work isn't to just look at yourself in the mirror and be okay with that, although that's part of it. It is to help us overcome the voice of our inner critic when we look in the mirror. So becoming aware of what actually happens in your mind, either subconsciously or consciously, when you look at yourself in the mirror. So being aware of what we're actually saying when we see our reflection. And this is a conscious choice to listen to that voice, not let it rule in the background. We want to learn to love ourselves and start truly believing the positive affirmations that we choose to say to ourselves when we look in the mirror. At first, it might be difficult to look at yourself in the eyes and say, I love you, you are beautiful. But over time, it will get easier. And as you continue to show up for this practice, I guarantee you that you'll begin to notice shifts in your mindset. And I worked with one client this year who I want to give an example. I've got 2 examples, 2 kind of like testimonials that I want to share with you. So this first client, she didn't look in the mirror. She didn't have mirrors in her home except for one really tiny one above her sink in the bathroom, just big enough to see her face. She refused to look at her reflection when walking down the street, outside shops, anything like that. And if by the off chance she caught her reflection, she would start criticizing every little thing she saw and would spiral into hours, if not days, of self-loathing. Can anyone relate to this? Has anyone been there before? But after us working together for a couple of months this year and mirror work being one of our most focused practices, she has bought a full-length mirror and it lives in her bedroom and she dances in front of it every single day. She enjoys what she sees in the mirror now, the reflection that smiles back at her. And she's never felt more confident in her body. And it's not that her body has changed at all. It's that her mind has shifted, that mindset, that perception, and that voice has shifted. And another client has shared with me, and this one I'm going to read verbatim. I started to feel more confident, more empowered, and more in control of my life. Mirror work has quickly become one of my favorite tools and been particularly helpful for dealing with anxiety and stress. By looking at myself in the mirror and acknowledging my worth and value, I've been able to calm my nerves and shift my perspective. It's also been a helpful tool in building my confidence and maintaining motivation. So these things can work if we stick to them, if we show up for ourselves, we may fall off, here and there, but there is proof out there that mirror work can have a huge, huge impact. And I've got a message here. Someone says, it sounds better than the previous mirror work that really challenged me. I was asked to say what I liked the look of. Yeah. And it could be my toes, but I ran out pretty quickly. But I feel like I can say positive statements. Yes, I've heard of that mirror work practice before. And I think that would be offered to someone at a certain level of self-love. This one, I feel like we are starting at the foundations. We want to start from the place of just beginning to see what it's like to say these words to ourselves, not having to believe them right away. So thank you for sharing that. And the truth is that we all have the voices inside our heads that tells us we're not good enough, not smart enough, not good looking enough. Mirror work helps us to quieten that voice and replace it with one that empowers and uplifts us. So by looking at ourselves in the mirror and saying positive affirmations or statements, we get to remind ourselves of our worth, our deservingness, and our value. And these are things that we all need to hear from time to time. We are human beings, and we love a good ego boost. Ego can be healthy. Ego can be healthy, and we deserve to hear these things for and from ourselves. So incorporating mirror work into your daily routine does not have to be time consuming. And I've just seen someone ask about time frame. So perfect timing. Perfect timing. They don't have to take a lot of time. My invitation for you is to start with 1 minute or 30 seconds. With consistency, the impact it can have on your day can be profound, even 30 seconds of it. It's a small yet powerful act of self-love that can transform your mindset and ultimately, in time, your life. So share with me in the chat, what are some positive affirmations or empowering statements that you would like to say to yourself in the mirror and ultimately truly believe about yourself? You don't have to believe them right now. They can be so far-fetched. Yes, I am sexy as fuck. Yes, Freddie. And you are. I can say that because I've seen you naked. Friend's been to a beautiful Naked Awakening workshop with me, and she is sexy as fuck. Annie, you are worthy of all that you desire. Yes, you are, queen. Yes. If I don't step into something new, I will never know what is on the other side. Yes. Yes. So how could you turn that into an empowering statement? Could you look at yourself in the mirror and say, I am ready to step into something new? I love how much you care and how hard you try. Yes, that is beautiful. Yes, yes, yes. I am ready to take on new challenges. Yes, Vivek. Open the door to something yet to be discovered. I will transform myself. Yeah, you achieve incredible things every day. Yeah, look, you guys got it. You guys got it. I'm going to set you some homework to write pages and pages of your positive statements and pick a couple each day to say to yourself in the mirror. So now practice 2. Well, hang on, Fran's given us one more. I am capable of attracting the people into my life who are willing to build and commit to a friendship or relationship. Yes. Super clear on that, Fran. That is beautiful. It's okay to embrace slowing down. Yes, it does not mean that I'm being lazy. People want to support you. Yes. Oh my God, you guys. You have that down pat. So moving on to now our second self-love practice is nude yoga. And anytime I say that I am a nude yoga teacher to someone, their eyes pop out of their head and they give me this look of shock and horror. And it's obvious, and I know the image that just pops into their head, and it's them doing a naked downward dog with someone behind them and someone in front of them with the lights on in the yoga studio. And they say to me, oh my God, I could never do naked yoga. And I say, well, I don't want you to do that. That's not what this is. But it's a very normal and it's a very reasonable assumption. But none of that is actually true, right? When I run my in-person nude yoga workshops and classes, We sit in a circle. The classes happen at nighttime, so it's dark and there's no harsh lighting on. In the middle of our circle is a few tea-light candles. It's very soft, it's safe, it's an intimate setting where we all know that no one is behind us, no one is able to clearly see our naked bodies, and it allows us not to look around the room comparing and judging ourselves because it's so dimly lit. And my private online nude yoga classes, well, you get to attend those in the comfort of your own home. So you set the scene. You create the privacy, the temperature control, you lock the doors, you put on the music of your choice, right? Nothing about the way that I facilitate my nude yoga classes is invasive. So I just wanted to bust that myth right here before we tap into this. But nude yoga and practicing naked yoga is my absolute favorite self-love practice. Not just for self-love, self-acceptance, self-compassion, self-discovery. And there's so many other benefits that I have found from practicing this for the body, the mind, and the soul. And so nude yoga is an ancient practice from India. And the Sanskrit names can be, there's Nagna yoga and there's Vivastra yoga. It's existed for a long, long time. It's just not very popular. You don't see a lot of it being promoted and advertised. But I believe, and from the Indian yoga school that I studied in Rishikesh, Nagna in Sanskrit translates to naked, and Vivastra could be translated into nakedness. And I know we've got some Indians on the call here, so please correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what I was taught from my swamis in my yoga teacher training. But for me personally, practicing yoga in the nude was the catalyst for my self-love journey. And then training to be a nude yoga teacher and facilitating these deep body image healing nude yoga workshops for women over the last few years has allowed me to grow and understand myself and what I consider self-love to be in a way that I never thought was possible. I believe that by removing our clothes and those extra layers of inhibition, it allows us the opportunity to connect to our bodies in a much deeper way. It encourages a sense of acceptance for how our body is right there in that moment. It allows us to be vulnerable, where we can confront and even embrace certain insecurities that arise. It increases our awareness because without the barrier and the restriction of clothing, we get to amplify and our senses are heightened of what's happening in our body. So that bodily awareness. And it is important to note here that the concept of practicing yoga in the nude, it isn't universally accepted, nor is it universally encouraged. And personal boundaries, cultural norms, legalities, these things need to be taken into consideration, and these things need to be respected. And Vivek here has said, you are absolutely right. Thank you. Thank you for confirming. Glad to know that I'm sharing the correct information. So this is a self-love practice that I invite you to start in the comfort and the privacy of your own home, and then maybe online classes, and then maybe in-person classes if you wish, but it's not necessary. You will still see results and experience increased self-love by practicing by yourself. And as with any style of yoga, the key is to find a practice that resonates and supports your overall well-being. When it comes time for you to strip back and practice naked yoga for self-love, it's important to be very clear on your intention. Anyone can get nude and do, asanas and poses and downward facing dog, but if your intention is to understand your body more, connect to it in a loving way, experience the beauty of your natural form as it moves, or flow with compassion, your experience of this practice is going to be dramatically different. So I want to share with you now 3 testimonials from people who have practiced nude yoga with me in the realm of self-love. And I've chosen 3 very diverse people and couples, so you get an understanding of how this it's really such a universal benefit. So the first one is a 28-year-old mother of 2 from Australia here. And she says, after only 1 workshop with Ricky, I feel a new confidence to walk into my life open-chested. The times of guarding and hiding my spirit feel so far away now. To be in a room full of naked people, physically and emotionally, was transcendent. It was the safe space I needed to step into a new depth of self-love. Beautiful. And then I had a husband and wife from South Africa join one of my mixed gender couples classes. And they shared that Ricky's guided self-love nude yoga sessions have been a godsend to each of us. Individually, it reminded us to focus on our self-care so that our cups are full and we can then be the best partners to each other. And for our partnership, practicing nude yoga together has become one of our favorite things to do. Not only are we feeling stronger physically, but our mental health has increased so much. And lastly, a single male from New Zealand, 60 years old. This gentleman shared that I followed Ricky's 30-day nude yoga challenge on YouTube during the pandemic lockdowns, and it truly saved me. I was alone, locked in my house, and going mad. I gained a lot of weight and I was falling into depression. Having her loving and judgment-free guidance 20 minutes a day for a whole month was the accountability and support I needed to remember to treat myself with kindness. So beautiful to hear these words from people who have practiced this and seen results. And if you want, what I'll do is I'll add a link to that 30-day nude yoga challenge in the email that I'll send you with the replay. So you can check that out at any point in time. I facilitate the 30 days clothed because it's YouTube. Nudity is not allowed, but all of my guidance and all of my instruction is for you to be at home practicing it nude in the comfort of your home. It starts for a very soft, gentle introduction and it builds over the 30 days and it's only 20 minutes. So I will gift you that in the email after this class and let me know if you ever go and do it. I'd love to hear how it works for you. So nude yoga for self-love will give each one of you different results. It will probably be uncomfortable, confronting, and difficult. But most things worthwhile feel like this in the beginning. And I want to remind you here as I close the end of the nude yoga part, that discomfort means growth. Yeah, when you show up and you sit in the discomfort of whatever practice you're doing, remind yourself that it's only uncomfortable because there is room for you to grow. Yeah. So now let me know in the chat. Have you practiced nude yoga before? Would you be willing to give it a go? And how do you feel after hearing me speak about that? Diane, I haven't done nude yoga. I haven't really practiced it with, I have done nude yoga. I haven't practiced it with consistency and with love. I feel like that is different to just doing nude yoga. Yes, 100%. And that's the intention piece. Without the intention, it is just yoga in the nude. And it might be fun. But with the intention, then we can really laser focus on the things that we are ready to shift and grow out of, those old patterns that we are ready to rewrite and grow out of. Fran, I've only practiced it the one time in your Naked Awakening class, but would love to do it more often, just a bit challenging when traveling and not having a private home. Yeah, maybe sometime later. Yeah, that is hard. And sometimes that's just the reality of it. And until you are grounded in a place where there is more privacy, maybe it's not the practice for you right here, right now, but we've got so many other self-love practices that we can do. And you know what? You can even do basic nude yoga in the shower, right? I guarantee you're probably showering by yourself. So there could be little moments in the shower while you're soaping up where you can touch your toes, you can reach up to the sky, you can hug your body, you can do some side stretches. It might be something that you can give a go. Try that. Just please don't slip over in the shower. I don't want that on me. Warren, yes, I have had one session with 50 people, plus a few one-on-one online and group classes. Yeah. Yep. So you've done it. But my question, Warren, if you've done those nude yoga classes, was there a self-love intention? Or was it just your naked yoga? Vivek, thank you, Ricky. You are a real teacher. You are uplifting. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, I have practiced nude yoga. I did too the 30-day nude yoga challenge with Ricky during COVID. Yeah. And it's kind of crazy because I was doing it for me, but I felt I was hiding this call It has its, but I felt like I was hiding. This call has inspired me to do it again and let go of the hiding illusion. Beautiful, Shelley. Warren also did the 30-day nude yoga challenge and other YouTube yoga videos. Yay! Oh, I got some super fans here. Love you all. Okay, so let's move on to the last practice, my number 3 of my top 3 practices. Now, this one is self-massage. Everyone loves a massage. Being touched by ourselves and by others, it's good for the soul. But one way you can boost your self-love is to create a self-massage ritual. Rituals play a huge role in promoting well-being for the body and the mind. This sense of structure and routine and purpose means that we are taking the time to prioritize our own health, well-being, and comfort, sending out positive messages to ourselves about the importance of self-nurturing. So this ritual of your self-massage, it could be before you go to bed at night for a few minutes, or first thing when you wake up in the morning. It could be at your desk here at work. Like, I know I sit at my desk for hours a day, and sometimes it's just about massaging my shoulders or giving myself a breast massage and rubbing my lower back with intention, right? It could be sitting in your car at a red light or in traffic. It could also look like you closing yourself off in a room, leaving your phone outside, putting on music, lighting candles, incense, getting delicious massage oil, and spending 30 full minutes dedicated to touching and massaging your body with love and conscious attention. It doesn't have to look any certain way to be a ritual, right? And as we massage our body and we're squeezing our muscles and we're warming up our skin, we start to shift stagnant energy that may be trapped in the body. This awareness can be deeply healing because all of us have repressed, suppressed emotions stored in our muscles, our tissues, and our energy centers. And this concept might be completely new to you, and we're not going to go into that deep today, but it's worth exploring in your own time. And I'd be more than happy to do another chat about that in the future. But one of the most powerful benefits of self-massage is the natural release of the body's love hormone, oxytocin. Okay, oxytocin is released when we engage in loving, caring, and supportive behaviors. So the trick to getting the oxytocin release in your body during your practice is to touch yourself mindfully and with loving awareness. Not massaging your belly thinking, oh God, this is gross, this feels bad, I have, shame, judgment. It's touching your belly and going, thank you so much for carrying all my organs. Thank you for digesting my food. Thank you for a yada, 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 right? Again, it's the intention. This is the big underlying part of this whole call that I'm going to keep drilling into you is the loving intention. Nothing will change unless you have that intention. So just as oxytocin is released when we care and we love and we give to others, the act of doing it back to yourself is going to trigger the release of this hormone. And there are so many other benefits of oxytocin release and as a result of self-massage for self-love. So decreased anxiety, lower cortisol, which is the stress hormone. It can reduce cravings if that's something that you struggle with. It boosts immune system functioning. It can improve our connections, the way we relate to people in our life. It has been known to extend your lifespan because stress is the #1 killer, right? And if we lower the cortisol, we can live a longer, more healthy life. And it can help with libido and sexual functioning. So with all of these benefits, you can see how this practice will truly boost self-love in your life. So using your hands and exploring the landscape of your entire body, sending loving energy out of your palms back into each part that you touch, learning what feels good for you, reclaiming the pleasure of your body, and finding the pressure points that make you melt. This is such a fun exploration that you get to have with yourself. And I believe that we can easily, and we all do easily, fall into the trap of taking our bodies for granted. Just going through the motions of each day, running around, eating our meals on the move, pushing through headaches, fatigue, hunger, just to get our jobs done. Anyone relate to that? I probably do at least one of those every single day. But no matter what we set out to do, our body is right there with us. showing up for us every single day without fail, without complaint, without objection. We can forget to appreciate all that it offers us and all that it allows us to do. So taking the time to slow down and offer your body intentional self-massage and touch, it gives you the space and time to think about all the reasons why you are grateful for the body that you have. So being grateful for the miracle that your body is here, that this is the vessel you were blessed to show up in for this lifetime, that it works for you, automatically works for you tirelessly. Yeah, let's show it some love. Let's really show it some love. So now let me know in the chat, what is something amazing that your body has done for you? What's something amazing that your body has done for you? For me, I decided a couple of years ago to hike around the Himalayas in Nepal for 24 days without training, without prepping my body for it. I was like, I'm here. I'm going to go and do this hike. And guess what? My body fucking did it. It is truly amazing and something I am so grateful for, that this body walked for 24 days without any preparation and showed up for me and carried me that whole way. That is something I am truly, truly grateful for. So share with me. What has your body done for you? Or what has it achieved that seemed like a stretch at the time? My body has taken me places, Nepal, Singapore, Thailand. It has shown me this beautiful world. Yeah. My legs are carrying me around on my bicycle all across the countries I've traveled in the past years. Truly grateful for that. Yes. Everyone, Fran is like traveling the world on a bicycle. It is amazing. Deanne, it's amazing that it keeps going, keeps walking, moving, and letting me keep doing the things I love. My wife's carried our 5 kids and nurtured them. I cannot compete with that. No, and that is another incredible thing that our bodies can do. My body continually meets the demand of my mind and what I physically want to do in each day, mostly physical work or exercise. Yeah. All right, beautiful friends. Those are my 3 favorite self-love practices: mirror work, nude yoga, and self-massage. And before we start wrapping up, allow me here to set the record straight on one more thing. That information alone does not reliably change our behavior. Okay? Showing up and listening to this class and thinking, this sounds great, this sounds fun. That's not enough. Sorry to say, that is not enough. Educating ourselves isn't enough to change our habits. Information alone will not change our life, and this isn't anyone's fault, okay? There have been studies done that tell us what actually creates lasting change, and I've left it outside, but in BJ Fogg's book, Tiny Habits, he shares 3 things to create lasting change. There is have an epiphany, change our environment, and change our habits in tiny ways. So trying to create or make yourself have an epiphany on purpose, that's not easy. It's almost impossible, but you may have one naturally. And that's generally a pretty great motivator, right? We've all had one thing maybe pop up that really sets the trajectory off for us to change our life, but we can't do that with the click of our fingers. Changing our environment, that's possible, but it's also not that realistic for a lot of us. And it's not the easiest thing to do. But number 3, changing our habits in tiny ways, achievable ways. This is possible for each of us, and we can start this right now on this call and at the end of this call. So I don't expect any one of you to start doing each of these practices every day and stay consistent with it. It's a very unrealistic expectation. So please don't put that on yourself either. But if you can commit to creating a new, manageable, and small habit, this will pave the way to lasting, healthy habit change. And of course, we're talking about self-love here tonight. So choosing the behavior you want within self-love, make it tiny, and find where it naturally fits in your life, and then we can nurture that to grow. So if you want to create long-term shifts, it's best to start small. Wire in these new habits, and they will grow naturally. So I love this concept from BJ Fogg, and it's worked for me in so many areas of my life. And I know that it works for creating lasting self-love prioritization. Starting small allows you to start right here because it meets you where you are. So for me, one of the biggest limitations that I put on myself is the belief that I just have not enough time to do all the things that I need to do, right? I probably don't need to do any of those things, but I write them on my list and I need to do them. And I constantly tell myself, I haven't got enough time, haven't got enough time. So when I spend time, well, I spend my time doing my business things. I push my self-care to the bottom of the list and I never really get around to it. And I know it's not just me that lives like this. I hear so many of my clients say, I just don't have enough time for that. Don't have enough time to walk each day. Don't have enough time to cook a nourishing meal every night. Don't have enough time to visit my family. Don't have enough time to read the book that's been sitting on my bedside table collecting dust for months. But with making some small adjustments and committing to this self-love journey, chance of failure doesn't have to come into it. You can start to change without making a huge deal out of it because the emotional risk is eliminated. No one can sabotage you. This takes off a lot of pressure that we put on ourselves because these new practices are so tiny. If we say, all right, from now on, I'm going to practice nude yoga for 30 days, 30 minutes a day, and then we stumble and we fall, we feel like a failure because we've set ourselves this big unachievable goal. It doesn't actually fit into our life, doesn't make sense, doesn't fit into our time schedule. So then we fail, we stumble, we fall, we get down on ourselves, and we probably won't try and do it again. But if we set ourselves these tiny little things that fit into our schedule and are achievable, you can see how the momentum can grow there, right? And you might stumble. You probably will stumble, even with little habits and little changes. But that's not failure. That is not failure. This is you making a new habit. All right. It's normal for us to get frustrated as well when things don't happen quickly, but this frustration at not having instant results, okay, is another way that we set ourselves up to fail. We really do live in an ambition-driven culture that is rooted in instant gratification. We do. This is our life right now. We find it difficult to accept gradual, incremental progress, which is exactly what we need to do to cultivate meaningful long-term change. So I encourage you all to choose one of these practices, the one that really resonated with you, that fits in with your life and your lifestyle and your schedule, and commit to doing it. 30 seconds a day, if that's all that can go. 3 minutes, perfect. And add it to something you already do so it's achievable. So, all right, let's do mirror work, for example. When do you already look in the mirror? Maybe when you're brushing your teeth. Maybe when you're doing your hair, maybe when you're checking your rear view mirror before you leave your home. When you look in the mirror, say 1, 2, or 3 of your positive statements to yourself with self-love. You've done the homework. Nude yoga. This one might be a little bit more challenging as it's not the norm for a lot of people, unless you're me. But maybe you can set an alarm for when you wake up in the morning and you just spend 30 seconds to 3 minutes stretching with your intention of self-love. Maybe it's just before bed. Think of when you can add it to your schedule that is achievable. And self-massage, right? This one you can do super easily. When you're having a shower and you're soaping up your body, slow down. Use the soap as lubrication and give your body some conscious touch. Maybe when you brush your hair, give yourself a scalp massage. When you take off your clothes at the end of the day, sit down for a moment and massage your feet. Massage your feet when you kick off your shoes even. Thank them for carrying you, holding you up, walking you through this life. See, so there are little pockets where you can add this to your lifestyle, make it achievable, and start to get that momentum happening. And again, it's all about loving intention, rewiring that voice in your head to be one of love, not negativity. Slowly start believing in your worth. Shelley says, so the feeling of failing is not being consistent, is due to choosing something that is not achievable. Well, yeah. If you set yourself a goal that realistically is not going to work for you, you're going to fail at it, you're going to feel like a failure, and you're going to believe that you can't achieve self-love. Yeah. And that feeling of failure is a killer, absolute killer. It's so hard to pull yourself back out of that and into motivation when you believe that you've failed. All right, all right, all right. So you may also find that this work isn't for you. You don't have to enjoy mirror work or nude yoga or self-massage. That is totally okay. These are the ones that work for me. And I share them with you in the hope that maybe you give them a try and maybe you do end up liking them. But the last piece, I know I keep saying final piece, but this is super important, okay? Celebrate yourself after every self-love practice you do, no matter if it was a 30-second practice or 30 minutes worth. That feeling of success and celebration and proudness is what is going to continue to fuel your practice and keep you consistent and have you shift your default response from pain to love. So celebrate your wins. Celebrate your wins, no matter the size. It will boost your self-love. Okay, it reinforces that you are capable and deserving of success. It increases your confidence. You get to recognize the progress that you are making towards your goals. It allows you to create that momentum, allows you to move through challenges, letting you know that the efforts you are putting in are meaningful. Celebrate your wins. And self-love is built on a foundation of self-acceptance. So celebrating yourself after each practice is also nurturing and creating that healthy and thriving relationship to yourself. You will get used to acknowledging your efforts, and maybe it will become a habit. Maybe that will be another tiny habit that you are growing and setting into your life, is that you are worthy of celebration. You can boast, you can brag, you can talk about your wins, and you can own everything that you do. Yeah. All right. So for everyone out there who doesn't yet follow me on Instagram, I'm going to copy the link and put it in the chat. I would love for you to follow me on Instagram. And any time that you do one of your self-love practices, share on your stories, tag me, and I want to celebrate with you. Yes, I want to celebrate anything you do. Just share a photo of you, or even just a little words or whatever, saying I've done this practice today, and celebrate yourself and allow me to celebrate with you. Yay! All right. So before we move into the Q&A, I have something special to offer all of you. And if by the end of the class now you have loved what I've been speaking about, maybe you feel that these practices aren't particularly aligned with what your struggles are, or maybe you want to go a little bit deeper, I want to offer all of you on this call a really, really cheap one-on-one call with me, where you can bring your biggest self-love struggles, and we together will come up with a practice plan that suits your individual desires. So we will sit for 45 minutes, you and I, one-on-one, and discuss exactly what's happening in your life that's holding you back from thriving in self-love. And I will give you personalized practices, rituals, tools, techniques, because I have an extensive collection of these, and will set you up with those small actionable steps and a habit forming plan so that you can combat your biggest challenges. So this I'm offering to you guys here on the call, 45 minutes for $45, and this will include me recording you your personalized practice that you can keep and use forever. If this interests you, I'm also going to copy and paste this in the chat right now. This is a form to say, I'm interested, these are my struggles, these are the kind of practices I like, and I will put together a whole thing for you, and we can jump on our 45-minute call and we can get that done. So that's my beautiful little offer. And of course, if anyone wants to work with me in any other capacity, I am open right now to take on new clients for the new year. I've also just launched my online nude yoga classes one-on-one. That is all on my website. I will also just send you out an email tomorrow with all these links. So if you miss it, don't stress. I will send it out. And before we move into the Q&A, one last thing I want you to share with me. What's your biggest takeaway from this call? Or what was the aha moment that you had? Shelley says, I'm in. Great way to start 2024. Yes, it is. It totally is. You know, everyone goes, new year, new me. They start setting all these New Year's resolutions. And New Year's resolutions is where people fail the most because we get all big and inspired and we set these really just unachievable things. A couple of weeks, months later, you know, we've fallen off the wagon and we just revert back to being mean to ourselves. And so this is a perfect way to start the new year. So, biggest takeaway from this call, share with me in the chat. Vivek, improved self-confidence is my takeaway. Annie, that I can do naked yoga in the shower. Yes. Diane, my biggest takeaway, make it achievable with small changes. Yep. My most favorite takeaway is the reminder to be really present with myself. So for anyone that wants to stick around and ask me questions about this call, about these practices, about anything, you can stick around. If you have to leave now, then thank you so much for being here. I really, really appreciate you all taking an hour out of your evening or morning, wherever you are in the world, and sitting here with me. It's been really beautiful to share this with you. And again, this was created out of my own personal need to remind myself of this stuff. And it really has me writing this out and creating all of this and reminding myself how much these practices work. It's really been what I've needed. So thank you for sharing that with me. Shelley, I appreciate you taking the hour out of your life for us. You are one of the most committed self-love inspirers. Oh, thank you. Okay, so I do have 2 pre-submitted questions. So for those of you who want to stay on and ask a couple questions, pop them in the chat box. I will get there soon. The first question that was submitted is, what is the link between self-love and confidence? And do you think that doing more self-love practices will help with my confidence in front of others? If so, are there any you can recommend? For sure, self-love and confidence are so closely interconnected. And I do believe that doing self-love practices will increase your confidence because there's positive self-image, right? Self-love involves accepting and appreciating yourself, flaws and all. So when you cultivate that positive self-image through self-love practices, you're going to see yourself in a more favorable, loving, and compassionate light. And this positive perception of yourself then forms the solid foundations for confidence and self-confidence and how you show up in the world. There's also inner validation. So confidence that stems from self-love is less reliant on external validation. When you love and value yourself, you're less likely to seek that constant approval from others, so that the internal validation that you begin to give yourself increases your confidence. There's resilience, there's boundaries, there's authenticity. There's so many parts of practicing self-love that skyrocket the confidence that you have. And then some practices that you can do, of course, like if you want to go deeper into this, use that link in the email or here if you're live and book in to have a call with me. But 100% positive affirmations is going to help. Mirror work is going to do this, regularly affirming your strengths and your worth. Self-compassion is another one. So treating yourself with kindness and understanding, especially in challenging times. There's mindfulness and meditation, of course, with the intention to focus on the present moment, cultivate that inner peace, and really build and nurture that self-love. And gratitude. Gratitude is always a great practice to do, acknowledging and appreciating all of the positive aspects of your life. Yeah, I hope that was a good answer for you. If not, I mean, we can jump on the call and we can chat even more. The second and last pre-submitted question is, my parents are strictly against nudism. How should I deal with them? See, this is a good one. I didn't talk about naturism or nudism much in this call. Of course, there was nude yoga, but for those of you who don't know, I am a naturist. I love to be naked, outdoors, in nature. It is one of the things that feeds my soul and connects me back to my body and the earth the most. And so I love this question. And the thing about this, right? My parents are strictly against nudism. How should I deal with them? Dealing with different opinions, and especially when it comes to personal choices, such as nudism or naturism, this is challenging. This is really, really challenging. There are a few things that I want to offer you. First is to understand their perspective, right? So before addressing this issue, getting angry, getting resentful, turning it into an argument, or potentially it breaking apart the family, I don't know, who knows how far this could go. Try to understand why your parents are against nudism. Is it based on culture, religion, personal beliefs? Knowing their perspective may be able to help you communicate your desire here more effectively with them. And then choosing the right time and place to have these conversations, or the right time and place for you to be naked. Say, I don't know if you still live with your parents or not, so that might be the issue. But timing for sensitive topics, like timing the conversation for sensitive topics like this, it's pretty crucial. So choose a calm and private setting where everyone can express their thoughts without interruption or distraction, and see how that kind of flows. Once you have learnt their perspective, open up an opportunity for them to hear your feelings. And speak honestly, but also respectfully, right? This is something that I've learnt within Nonviolent Communication by Marshall Rosenberg. Use the I statement to convey how you feel rather than making accusatory you statements. That fuels the fire for argument, right? So for example, say, I feel that nudism is a personal choice that I would like to explore, rather than you're too strict about nudism. Yeah? I hope that makes sense. So you can educate them. You can educate them. If they're willing to hear you, you can educate them. We can't force these things. We can't make people believe what we believe. Everyone is a human and they have the right to believe what they want to believe. But you can acknowledge the differences you have. You can learn their perspective. You can speak your truth. You can educate them. It may or may not work. Yeah, maybe you can seek compromise. Maybe there is something there that you can come to an agreement with. But be patient. Be patient and choose your battles. You know, parents, we've got a different relationship with parents. Things can get really, you can take things very personally. So choose your battles and be patient. Okay, so those were the 2 pre-submitted questions. Now let me check here if someone has submitted any questions in the chat. Vivek says, how can I lose weight by doing yoga? I mean, I think you just answered your own question. I feel like doing yoga in itself, it's a physical practice. It is a physical practice where you can potentially lose weight. But again, it's your intention. If you start practicing yoga, but you still have all of these other unhealthy habits in your lifestyle, then we can't really expect to see a lot of change. So practicing yoga may be one part of it, but then you also have to decide, in what other areas of my life can I create more of a healthy relationship? Is it food? Is it substances? Is it the amount of movement I do every day? Is it my mental health? Right? There are lots of areas, but I think by practicing yoga consistently, and I think you can lose weight. I've noticed myself when I was in those years of lockdown during COVID, where I was running classes online almost every day, my body changed. It's not so much that I, just dropped the weight, but I grew muscle. I toned out, I leaned out. Yoga is a lot about core strengthening. It's not about losing weight. It's around really stabilizing those core muscles, and then you will start to see your body shift. Thank you for that question. Shelley says, I'm starting to understand why the word practices is a buzz. Practice to get good at something. Yeah. Yeah, we have to practice. We have to practice. Vivek says, nudity is not sexual, it's a way of life. Yes, that's another common misconception, right? That nudity is only related to our sexuality. And I am a huge advocate for breaking that stigma. Thank you for sharing that. I have experienced naturism for the first time in the last Sydney Skinny event. After that, I felt more confident. Yeah, yes, the Sydney Skinny. I've never been to it. I can't go next year either. I'm going to be in New Zealand, but I was just down in Sydney for the Christmas Naked Cruise, and that was a lot of fun. Vivek says I answered that question nicely. You're welcome. Ben, I would like to go on a GNA cruise, but I don't think I can because of my disability. Yeah, that's something we can talk about. We can chat about that in DMs and we can discuss how it might look and see if it will be a safe option. They change their boats every year. So that's the hard thing, is knowing what we're dealing with structurally. But for sure, we can definitely chat about that. All right, my beauties. Doesn't look like there's any more questions coming through. Again, thank you all so much for being here. Those watching the replay, I hope you've enjoyed it. Whenever you watch this in the future, message me, email me, let me know what landed for you, what insights you've had, what were your biggest takeaways. I want to keep this conversation going. And of course, everyone who signed up, I'm going to email you out all the links, all the information, so you don't have to stress about scrolling back through the chat to find those links. I will send it out to you. And the replay. Fran, this was so helpful. Thank you so much. You are welcome, my darling, and it's so nice to see your beautiful face. Yes. How to connect with the naturism community in Sydney. Again, DM me. I can hook you up with that community. We can chat about that. So we are GNA, which is short for Get Naked Australia. So that is I'm pretty sure it's the largest naturist community in Australia. And I'm very, very proud to be the Queensland ambassador for that community. So if you are interested in any of that, message me after this call and we can chat about that. Yes. All right, everyone. That is a wrap. Love you all so much. Mwah. Thank you for being here. And I hope to see you again soon. Bye.